Hello, and welcome to me questioning myself over a song. So I recently heard a song called Sleep Patterns by the Merchant Ships, and it changed me. For the worse or for the better, I don't know yet. I found myself getting lost in this 3 minute and 17-second story, trying to figure out why it was written, what's the meaning behind it, and the story it was trying to tell. I couldn't find anything that really made sense to me, so I did what any normal person would do. Listen to it nonstop until I figure it out. So my theories began. I've never had a song stop me like this song, or have me remember things that I don't like remembering and talking about. And that's why I wanted to find out what this song is. So I came up with a few theories, but I'll get to those in a second. So for now, let's go over what the song is about. It begins its story with two people skating on a hill on September 9th, 2001. The two see an ambulance drive by, and a woman who has passed away leaves the ambulance, eyes open, freshly dead. One of the people on the hill, whose name is Gary, asks why isn't she blinking or moving. The person telling the story tells Gary that her soul went to heaven. The narrator doesn't believe this, but he knows it'll be easier for Gary to understand. Then a car comes behind the ambulance and runs over to the woman, holding each other and crying, asking her to please wake up. 2 days later, at 9 a.m., two planes hit the World Trade Center, killing over 3,000 people. The narrator tells Gary there is no God, and this is meaningless. Gary doesn't know it yet, but a year from now, their family will be torn apart and they won't see or talk to each other for 5 years. But one day, as they sat in the hood of their car, Gary asked the narrator, "What do you want out of life?" The narrator responds, "I don't know." He doesn't tell Gary the dream he had the night before, where he's riding in a car and singing to a song he's never heard. In the dream, they swerve off the road, and the narrator goes through the windshield and hits the edge of the fence, dislocating his jaw and flipping into a wall where his neck breaks and his skull is fractured. He bleeds to death in excruciating pain. The narrator then tells us that he will have this dream periodically until he meets all of the strangers one by one, introducing them to each other and creating a friendship. He will set the events from his death to motion, and he will die. He then goes on to explain, but today, in the warm light of the sunset, he doesn't see it. He just sees the sunset. He smiles back and shakes his head. He has absolutely no idea. He is afraid. It ends just as quickly as it starts, and I was left speechless. I didn't know what to say about it, but as I looked online for what other people had to say about it, no one had my opinion. So, my opinion, I believe Gary doesn't exist and is instead a part of the narrator, their inner child to be exact, and I think there's a deeper meaning that no one else has picked up on. Now, I know Gary is young from the start of the song. He doesn't know what death is and how it works, and the narrator, who I will be calling Cameron from now on, explains it in a way that he will understand. That choice of words is why I think he's a little kid and is Cameron's inner child. And I believe that he doesn't exist because Cameron refers to stuff as ours, our family, our car. Now, you could make the argument that they are brothers, but I couldn't find anything that supports this in the song. I thought the same thing too, so it's okay. So, what is the point of the song? I think the whole point of the song is this constant struggle of making yourself happy and living up to what the younger you thought of you. Hence why Gary asks Cameron, "What do you want out of life?" And Cameron responds, "I don't know," letting down Gary. Now, another thing I thought about when thinking of the two as the same person, how come Gary doesn't know about the dream? Well, because Cameron has only started having the dream the night before. Before Gary never experienced the dream. So, which is why he doesn't know about it. And you don't really tell a kid how they die. Now, this dream is also a whole other mystery. Usually dreams don't show you dying. If you've ever had a dream where you're falling and you're about to hit the ground, you wake up. So it's strange to me that in this dream he does die, and he dies in a very graphic way, and he remembers it, explaining exactly how he dies, how everything happens, what he breaks, what he hits, how he dies. But I think the next part gives us the answers about this dream. He goes on to talk about how he meets everyone in that dream, becoming close, and as he grows close, he isn't scared anymore. And he tells us as he tells us, the whole mood of the song changes. He says he's smiling back to the sun, and he has absolutely no idea that he's afraid. Now, that last line, I can't figure out. What is he afraid of? But I don't think he's afraid of anything. I think he's content living in the present. The whole song constantly switches back and forth between the past and the future, his old self and his future self. It doesn't talk about what's going on now until the end, symbolizing the light at the end of the tunnel, I believe. The song teaches us that we can't change our future or our past, and the fact that we are going to die, it's inevitable. So we have to live in the present, because that's the only way. We have absolutely no idea that we are afraid.